Why is it that some people seem to achieve everything they set themselves up for, while others keep on defining goal after goal after goal, but without getting anywhere close to achieving them? For as long as I can think, I was eager to learn the secret to success and to understand the ingredients that help people get what they want and achieve their goals, in business as well as in life. And after years of research, conducting my own self-studies and observing my coaching clients achieving what truly matters to them, I think I know the answer. It comes down to our habits, the things that we do consistently, over and over and over again, that help us reach our goals and be successful. The habits that we form around our career, business, as well as personal life really have the power to make or break our success. So let's look into some scientifically proven insights that will help you in forming healthy habits for your success, now and in the future. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sabine Renner. I'm an organizational psychologist, leadership and personal development coach and trainer, and researcher in the field of positive psychology. On this channel, you will find proven and actionable tips, tools, and strategies to empower aspiring leaders to take the lead and succeed at work and beyond. In two of my recent videos, I outlined the importance of goal setting, and I also shared a proven 5-step plan that will help you turn your goals into results. And today's video is really a follow-up deep dive into the idea of backing up your goals with systems and habits. And this brings me to the highly recommendable book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of today's most renowned experts in the field of habits and behavior change. Let's look into 5 key insights from his book and how we can use them to turn your goals into reality. Insight number 1. Aim for 1% better each day, compounded over time. Whenever we see somebody who's extremely successful in what he's doing, it's very tempting to think, oh, it's just him. He was born this way. Or to believe, wow, what an overnight success. This must have required a massive action plan. In the first case, we assume that success is based on an innate fortune. Whereas in the second case, we believe that success is a result of one earth-staggering action, or a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. Very rarely do we have an idea about the work that was done before the success started to shine through. The repeated efforts and countless repetitions which made the success possible. The results that we get, the success or the lack thereof, is more often than not a culmination of the same actions done consistently over time. And as we do the same things over and over and over again, we form habits that then become the building blocks of our success. A habit is nothing else than a behavior that has been repeated enough times so that it becomes automated, which means that we can do it without much thinking. Think of brushing your teeth in the morning or evening, and the less thinking or cognitive energy and willpower is needed, the easier it becomes for us to get it done. And here comes the idea of an atomic habit into play. Atomic habits are regular practices or routines that are small, that's why they're called atomic, and relatively easy for us to do. And because they are so small and easy, chances are much higher that we do them again and again, and as we do so, experience small wins and improvements along the way. And here, the effect of tiny 1% improvements compounded over time becomes our ally on our journey towards success. If we manage to get better 1% each day for a year, we'll end up 73 times better at the end. Unfortunately, the effect also goes in the other direction. If as a result of bad habit, we get worse 1% each day, we come down to almost zero. So making sure that we have the right habits in place is one of the most important things we can do to elevate our chances of success. As the right actions, no matter how small and unimportant they may seem at the beginning, can compound into remarkable results. Focusing on tiny improvements over time also allows us to get started without having everything figured out perfectly, and to get going instead of worrying whether whatever we want to do is good enough. Insight number 2. Focus on systems, not goals. The second interesting insight from the book is that we should focus on systems and not on goals. Now I know this might seem a little counterintuitive. Am I saying that goal setting is not important? No, definitely not. Goals are important because they give us direction. They tell us about the result that we are aiming for. Without goals, we are at a huge risk of taking detour after detour after detour. But at the same time, just having the goal doesn't mean that we are going to achieve it. In fact, successful and less successful people might have exactly the same goal. But what sets them apart is that winners find pathways to get from where they are right now to where they want to go. And this is where systems come into play. A system is a habit or a set of habits that, if we do them regularly, help us to make progress and to get into the direction we are aiming for. The better the habits and the more tailored to us and our endeavors, the easier it will be for us to get there. Or, as James Clear famously said, you do not rise to the level of your goal, you fall to the level of your system. Focusing on systems instead of goals also allows us to build processes that will allow us to be successful in the long run, instead of just achieving this one particular goal and then having to start over again. And as we design our system, our sense of success and happiness becomes much less dependent on achieving a particular goal, and instead we focus much more on the journey and can enjoy our continued progress along the way. Insight number 3. Expect outcomes to be delayed. Now, when it comes to building systems and habits as a basis for our success, there's one thing that we should, very wisely and for our own sanity, prepare ourselves for. And that is to say goodbye to the idea of instant overnight success and immediate gratification, and to decide to be in the game for the long run, and to trust the idea of the compound effect. Whenever we start to work on something that we've never done before and where we have to build up skills and experiences, we oftentimes hope for progress to come in fast, or to be at least linear. But in reality, outcomes are often delayed. Before we get anywhere close to our goals, we have to go through what James Clear calls the initial valley of disappointment, in which our actions at first glance don't seem to lead to any meaningful result. But as we grow through it, we get better and better, and as our learning curve becomes steeper and steeper, we reach our goal after several cycles of refinement and continuous improvement. And the more willing we are to accept this, the easier it will be for us to hang in there and move forward one step at a time, while still enjoying the journey. Insight number 4. Use the power of your identity. As humans, we have a very powerful need, and that is our need for consistency. We generally want to back up our beliefs and past statements and commitments with congruent actions. If what we do or say just doesn't feel in line and congruent with what we have done in the past and the beliefs that we have about ourselves, this need for consistency kicks in, oftentimes unconsciously, and causes us to deviate from our path. Now, this is very important in the context of habit formation and goal achievement. Whatever we set ourselves up for, is this goal and the system or habit that will get us there in alignment with how we see ourselves as a person? Or is it not? And if it's not, well, then be prepared for a bumpy road ahead, as it is super challenging to continuously engage in actions that are incongruent with how we see ourselves. Is there a way around it? Well, yes, absolutely. Instead of focusing on the goal that you want to achieve, ask yourself, who do you wish to become? What kind of person could get the outcome that you are aiming for? And what would that person do to get there? Do you want to deliver, for example, an impactful speech in front of hundreds of people? Well, then don't aim for the speech to be a success. Focus on becoming an inspiring speaker. What would that person do to prepare the speech and to rock it on stage? Do you want to give feedback more regularly to your team? Well, then don't focus on delivering the feedback. Challenge yourself to become a caring and motivating leader. And as you do so, you shift away from outcome-focused actions and habits and start to form habits that back up your identity or to help you form a new one. And that typically is much more powerful and motivating as well as sustainable, as it helps you to maintain these habits in the long run. Insight number 5. Apply the 4 laws of behavioral change. And now, last but not least, let's look into some practical tips and suggestions on what we can do to create tiny habits that lead to remarkable results. Any habit can be broken down into a feedback loop that involves 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers our brain to initiate a behavior. The craving is the motivational force behind a habit. Why do we want to do something? Oftentimes, we don't necessarily care so much about the habit, but more about the change in state that it delivers. The response is the actual habit that we perform, which could be something that we do, say, or think. And last but not least, the reward is about satisfying our craving. Each of these steps offers us different opportunities to support our habit formation, and they are all built around the 4 laws of behavioral change, which are: make things obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Now, let's look into each one of these. At the cue level, the idea is to make the trigger obvious. Become aware of all the habits you engage in, which ones are supportive and which ones are not. Once you understand your habits, ask yourself how you could design your environment in such a way that the cues that trigger the habit become more visible, so that they constantly remind you. And of course, for bad habits, you want to ask, well, how can I make these cues ideally invisible? There are two more easy to implement options. The first one is to use implementation intentions. An implementation intention means that you decide that on a particular day, at a particular time, or at a particular place, you are going to perform a certain habit. The second option is to use the idea of habit stacking, which means that you identify a current behavior that you already do regularly and then stack your new behavior on top of it. At the cravings level, you want to make sure that the new behavior is attractive. What makes a behavior attractive? Well, of course, the anticipation of a reward. This could either be accomplished by pairing an action that you really enjoy with something that you need to do, which would be the new behavior, or by developing a kind of motivational ritual in which you engage in before you start working on the new habit. Now, what to do in case that you want to avoid a bad habit? Well, ideally we make it unattractive. One way of doing so is via reframing, meaning that we look at the positive benefits of avoiding the negative behavior. At the response level, the idea is to make it as easy as possible for us to engage in the habit. How? Well, there are a couple of proven ways. Firstly, you want to ask yourself how you can reduce friction, meaning the number of steps that lead you to the new habit. How quickly can you transfer into this new behavior? And of course, for bad behavior, the question then is, how can you make it more difficult and increase the friction and number of steps? James Clear also suggests to break down habits into atomic components, steps that we can execute within 2 minutes or less, at least initially. The less time needed, the easier it will be for us to follow through. And then, last but not least, at the reward level, we should ask ourselves how we could make it satisfying. And here the guiding principle is pretty straightforward. Whatever is immediately rewarded gets repeated. Whatever gets punished is avoided. Here you could think of ideas such as using a habit tracker to mark your successes or any kind of other positive reinforcement, as well as accountability buddies who keep you on track along the way. And now, with all of these insights, it's up to you. What are you aiming for in life and in your career? And even more importantly, what habits would you like to form and sustain to get you there? Because success is not the result of a once-in-a-lifetime Big Bang, but the product of our daily habits. Where are your habits taking you? Curious to learn more proven actionable tips, tools and strategies that will help you and your team succeed? Well, then hit the like and subscribe button to stay tuned and have a look at this video in which I share further insights on how to transform your goals into results. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.